Mr. Rhoden was apprehended this afternoon by members of the Fugitive Task Force and the U.S. Marshals Service. Mr. Rhoden was arrested in the Chamblee area, and he has ties to the metro Atlanta area. Mr. Rhoden has been charged with 3 counts of murder, 3 counts of aggravated assault, and 2 counts of kidnapping.
That was Cobb County Chief of Police Tim Cox at a press conference yesterday announcing the arrest of the suspect involved in a country club shooting that left 3 dead, including a golf pro who it appears had been a witness to a crime. Now, after a manhunt in Georgia metro Atlanta area, U.S. Marshals arrested 23-year-old Bryan Anthony Rhoden in Chamblee, Georgia, just 25 miles from the Pine Tree Country Club, where the 3 bodies were discovered on the green by the 10th hole last week. Now, according to the police in Chamblee, Rhoden had been arrested just hours after the murders on July 3rd on unrelated charges, including DUI, false identification, and driving without insurance, among other charges. He was later released on bond before being rearrested in the triple homicide case yesterday. Now, Rhoden made his first appearance in court today and actually spoke before the judge.
Thank you. Good evening. If you can hear me okay, you're the only defendant current is Mr. Rhoden, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I was told you were represented by counsel, Mr. Rhoden?
Yes, sir.
Have you had a chance to talk to your counsel?
Yes, Your Honor.
There are no attorneys present, or have they agreed that we can proceed with this with just talking to Mr. Rhoden directly?
I believe they filed the motion or the paperwork they needed to, but they're just not here right now.
Okay. All right. Well, Mr. Rhoden, this is a somewhat informal hearing. You will not be asked to make any statements about the case. I have a copy of the warrant. Have you had a chance to see that warrant?
The one displaying my charges?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
There is no bond on your warrant. Do you want me to read through the warrant, or you're satisfied that you've read it and understand the charges?
I'm satisfied.
Okay. There is no bond on the warrant. I will not be setting a bond for you at this hearing. There will have to be a separate hearing for that purpose, at which time your attorneys would probably offer evidence on your behalf. The next available date for a bond hearing would be July 27th. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any questions about the process thus far?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Rhoden did not have an attorney present at his first appearance, but he said that he had retained counsel and he was denied bond. Now, his next court date is another bond hearing, and that is scheduled for July 27th. So let's bring back in the think tank, former senior homicide prosecutor Bernardo Villalona, criminal defense attorney and law professor at Cleveland State, Ian Freeman, and criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Brian Watkins. Brian, I'm going to start with you. Just a quick update on this guy. All right, this guy is actually an aspiring rapper, goes by the name B-Rod. He has a record deal. They claim he was a student at Georgia State University. This is coming from the record company. It's not one you readily know. What do you think's going on here, Brian? There's an investigation still going on. The cops are not giving a lot of information. The brazen way this crime took place, there's got to be more here.
Yeah, there's a lot more evidence that's going to need to unfold for us to get a picture of what really happened here. You know, I hate to see a young man and what's going into be the prime of his life, promising young man, if he's in college, he's in the music industry, doing what apparently he loves to do, to be derailed like this, you know. So I'm waiting, I'm anxious to see what evidence they have against him and really what happened, what unfolded that day. You know, it was, of course, we never want to see a triple homicide. That's the worst it gets. But like I said, it's a really sad story everywhere, all the way around.
Yeah, and quickly, you know, he drove onto a golf course with a pickup truck that belonged to one of the people that were murdered. They were inside the cab. He's been charged with kidnapping, and today we learned a little bit more about those 2 kidnapping charges in this case. With regards to the victim, Paul Pearson, the arrest warrant reads, The accused did abduct and steal away Paul Pearson without lawful authority or warrant and did hold such person against their will. To wit, said accused did bound the hands, legs, and mouth of said victim with tape. Said accused did operate a white in color Dodge Ram pickup truck bearing Kansas license plate 533NZM, which contained Paul Pearson concealed in the enclosed bed of the pickup truck. And on the second count of kidnapping with regards to Henry Valdez, the warrant lays out a very similar set of details. Now, we also learned that Paul Pearson was the owner of that truck that was driven onto the golf course, and he was from Topeka, Kansas, and Henry Valdez was from California. And Bernarda, I mean, have you ever seen a set of facts like this? So what could possibly be going on? Just the fact that he drove it again onto a golf course, and then he runs away on foot after killing a golf pro. Did this guy just go off on some kind of drug-crazed killing? Is it some insider record thing? I have no idea.
Look, Michael, there is so much going on here. I am actually anxious and curious to hear more about this case. So I will be on July 27th at the, well, I won't be at the bond hearing, but I'll definitely be watching the bond hearing to see if other facts are released to the public, because I'm also confused to the fact that he was arrested just a couple hours later for a DWI amongst other charges, which I'm curious to see how that would affect the homicide charges. Because if he were so drunk and he was driving, can that negate the intent for the homicide charges if it still stands? I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see, because we don't have much information at all, as just that the bodies were recovered and that they were bound, and the ages of these victims as well. I believe one of them was 76 years old. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, no question about it. And I'm just hoping that the golf pro just walked up on it, wasn't involved. I don't think he was at all. Now, Ian Friedman, the arrest came very quickly. Now, when he was initially arrested, again, he was let go because there was no connection yet made. But this is something that happened in front of a lot of golfers who were on the course. The police lauded their communication, their cooperation. There was a lot of cooperation between a lot of departments to get this guy really quick apprehension, quick justice.
Yeah, there was. And, you know, the police chief, when he came out and kind of first addressed the public after the arrest, he said, look, I acknowledge that some people may be frustrated. They want the facts. They want to know what's going on, right? Because that's what the community wants today. They need to know immediately. He said, however, our priority is the investigation and the prosecution of the offender in this case. So they're doing it the right way. They've released a little bit. We're seeing what's happening in court, but they can't just satisfy everyone's immediate need for information. We all have to sit back, let the investigation take its course, and we are going to find out that there's certainly a lot more to the story. The one thing that bothered me most about it, though, the golf pro who walked up and then ended up a victim here, it just goes to show, it made me feel like, gee, can you even walk up anymore to help people? And that bothered me about this one.
Yeah, we see it time and time again, and we see situations where something's going on and people are not going over to help, and that's the reason why. The proliferation of guns, you just don't know what's going to happen. Brian Watkins, what do you think's next for this guy? He's got this bond hearing coming up at the end of July. Certainly there's not going to be bond for this situation. What happens next? What's ahead for him?
Yeah, he's definitely not going to get bond in a situation like this. He'll be held in custody until his trial. In a triple homicide case like this, very, 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 very unlikely that he would even be offered any sort of a plea deal. So this case is headed to trial, and his life is going to be on the line. You know, a triple homicide, he'll be looking at spending the rest of his life in prison. I don't know whether they'll try to add special circumstances, because we don't know enough about the case to see what the circumstances was regarding these homicides.
Yeah, and just a sad end to what, if this press release by the record company is right, to what seemed like a promising life. I don't know. I don't know what to say about this one.